I have a treat for all you non-traditional pet owners and lovers. Meredith Tollison is an intuitive. Some people call them animal communicators, maybe even animal psychics. You like the word intuitive. Meredith and two of her colleagues all flew to New York City for the premiere of the New York Dog and Cat Film Festivals and got to meet a lot of people at a Pooch and Pussycat party. And I thought it's not, and thank you all for coming. You were amazing. People were just knocked out. And I know a lot of people think, oh, there is somebody who is an animal communicator or intuitive, and they're legit, so to speak. And yes, you guys are the real deal. So anyone interested, it's Meredith Tollison, TOLLISON.com. Very empathetic, very kind, very insightful. You better be, otherwise you couldn't be an intuitive, right? I thought it'd be so fun to come on this show where there's so many passionate pet owners with pets that other people say, what? An iguana? A tortoise? A sugar glider? And those people have relationships with their pets and deep forms of communication. Maybe different with a reptile than with a rat, because the rats, now I don't know, I've never had a pet rat, but I love Charlotte's Web, and Templeton to me is one of the great characters of all time. Have you ever had actual clients come to you and say, I just don't think my hamster is enjoying life like it used to? What's he thinking? What's he feeling?
I absolutely have. And I'm so glad you brought up this topic because you're right. As an animal communicator, and I do call myself an animal communicator, I connect intuitively with any animal out there. One of the most impactful experiences that I had when I started working professionally, and this is how I got into doing all the work that I do with lost pets. A woman called me to help find her
Really?
tortoise, whose name was Riley, and she said that she does not mind my telling a little bit of his story. Her story? I think it's a her.
By
Yeah,
the way, I think it's difficult with tortoises to know, but do go on.
I've now located this tortoise on 4 different occasions, but the very first time this person called me, I was able to describe to her exactly what she was seeing and exactly what her experience was and what she was hearing and all of these things. And she went there, and that's where Riley
No
was actually
kidding.
located.
So
Yeah.
you were able to describe and explain to the owner what the tortoise was feeling, seeing, hearing.
I was, and it surprised me as much as it surprised her and probably surprised the tortoise as well. And then surprised us all. That's exactly where she was and exactly where she found her. But it's led me into a lot of the work that I do, trying to help people locate lost animals.
I
Riley
didn't
was one of
realize you
these.
did the Lost Pets because when I had Cat Chat on Sirius on the Martha Stewart channel for almost 8 years, I did have once a month Anne Marie Sawicki, who was my animal communicator, not mine. We were all privileged to have her. And she would come in the last Wednesday of the month, obviously over the air, because it was Sirius satellite radio. And she didn't do lost pets. That was something she said, I just don't do lost pets. Now, maybe it was because of time. Maybe
Mhm.
it's more time consuming, and we tried to keep everyone to 5 minutes on the
Yeah.
radio show. But is lost pets different than just feeling and seeing and hearing, even from a pet who's passed away? Is a lost one quite different?
It is very much different. And it's work that I can honestly say I wish that I didn't feel called to do because it is emotionally charged. It is time sensitive. It is working with people who are in a panic
Yes.
and with the animals who could also be in a panic. And some of the animals who are like, I'm not going to show you anything because I'm not ready to be found. There's
Cool.
a lot to it. And most animal communicators, most of my colleagues refer to me because they don't want to do that work.
That's
But Riley led me to that work, this tortoise, and is the main reason that I continue to do it.
that is very interesting. So Anne Marie feeling that way or making that sort of boundary for herself is not uncommon among professional communicators.
It's very common. It's very common. If it were less common, I would be one of those who was making that boundary for myself. But it is very
Interesting.
common. And I feel like that's a service that I can attempt to provide to the world that a lot of other people don't do.
So this particular tortoise, not once, but 4 times, has taken a hike, and you were able to pick up on where she or he was?
3 of the 4 times, yes, I was able to help bring her home.
What about the fourth?
She did eventually. get found. But at that point, I was so emotionally connected that I
Wow.
didn't necessarily feel that I could be super helpful. And one thing she kept telling me was put like a piece of crepe paper or a piece of tape or something on me so mom can find me when I go on walkabout. But I did not know, this is something I learned about exotic pets, that tortoises actually have a lot of feeling in their shells.
Fascinating. Yes, I've heard that from Dr. Doug, who's my co-host on the show. You can scratch them on their shell or even massage them, and they're like, oh, that feels great.
One of my friends takes a toothbrush and gives a little massage to her tortoise all the
Oh,
time.
that's adorable. Hey, that's a great tip for people. None of the experts we've had on have said toothbrush massage for your tortoise. I think that's fabulous.
And this is hearsay, so check with
No, no, but you know what? It can't hurt.
Can't
It
hurt.
can't hurt. And obviously, don't put toothbrush paste on the toothbrush. Just a dry toothbrush, maybe a wet one, but not one with toothpaste on it. One of the reasons that I thought it would be great to have you on the show, and I know that some of your colleagues are going to come on Cat Chat and on Dog Talk, is because recently I interviewed a man who owns something called Angel's Hatchery in Florida, which Dr. Doug Mater had introduced me to them, Paul and Judith. And he had an albino tortoise, a small one, Albert. And I said, oh, he's so cute. And this man, Paul, did the cutest thing like Mr. Ed, the talking horse. He had Alfred talking to me. It was so, Albert, it was so cute. Hi, Tracy. It's nice to meet you. I'm like, oh my God. What if a tortoise could really talk to you? I would have a room of them. Hello, Tortoise. It's great to talk to you. But
Toward I love that.
but people who have rats, for example, have very complicated, in a good sense, relationships with them. They're so apparently smart, feeling, sympathetic. They can learn tricks. They know words. They're hang on your shoulder. They could do tricks with you. So I would think that would be an animal that if things weren't quite right, or just the person is so filled with curiosity, what was this rat's life before it was with me? Is that one of the main questions you get from pet owners? Not so much a problem in the here and now, or even a problem at all, just what was their life like before they came to me?
I get that question an awful lot. And honestly, I've never yet worked with a rat, and I would love to. They're
Oh, nice.
incredibly intelligent, and I would love to have an opportunity to connect with someone's rat that they're very bound with. So pass that on, people. Call me with
Yes.
your rats.
Right.
Yes, that is one of the most common questions I get. What was their life like before me? What do they want me to know? Were they in a bad situation? Was their life terrible? Was there? And here's the truth, whether it's cat, dog, horse, cow, iguana, tortoise, the animals are always, I don't really want to talk about that. It's not important because
Yeah.
this is where we are now. This is
Mhm.
the work we are doing together to collaboratively
Yeah.
to work together. What happened to me before is part of my story, part of my contract, part of our mission here together. And that's not the important part. We as humans get a lot more fixated on what we think is our goal to help them overcome something bad that may have happened to them
Right.
before. And that's not how the animals see it, or not how they've told me that they see it.
That's a really great point that it's our goal to have them overcome this adversity. I think that I've often and more I've come to believe that people's connection to pets, particularly people in some form of rescue or foster, that the idea of repairing past damage for the pet is a reflection of them having past damage that they would like to repair. It not in a selfish way. It's just, oh, I bet that this poor kitty lived under a car for 3 months and only had, I don't know, horrible dirty puddles to drink from. We don't know for sure. The cat might have had a perfectly nice life and just not wanted to stay where he or she was, or accidentally got out. And yeah, maybe they've been living rough a little while, but nobody did them, no one did them dirty necessarily. But we kind of want to feel like saviors. Part
And
of
even if someone did do them dirty, that's not what they want to focus
right.
on. It's where the difference between animals' wisdom and what we perceive as our own human wisdom and abilities differs, because we do want to come in and save them and rescue them and make everything better. That's
Yeah.
a human ego thing. But here's the cool part about that. When an animal has had a rough background, or whether they have or haven't, but that's what we perceive, we as people are we have a lot to heal in our own selves,
Yeah,
but we are so much more willing to do the hard work on behalf of our animals than
sure.
we are to do on behalf of ourselves. And that's one of the ways that these animals work with us, is
Yeah.
to give us an opportunity to do that specific kind of work with them. And then sometimes we'll have an aha moment and go, I could help myself with that very same lesson. And that's the beauty of it.
That really is. It's a lovely full circle, and it really is caretaking of another. It's very hard to caretake another human. Very hard to caretake yourself because it's scary. You don't necessarily want to unpack that stuff and look at it. It's like, I think that's going to freak me out or make me sad, or and then what will I do? So
Right.
maybe I won't do it. And it's a little easier on behalf of another person, but much easier on behalf of a pet.
But isn't it true that we often over caretake for other people to
Yes.
avoid doing it for ourselves? So when the
Yeah.
animals come into this mix, it's just it's a beautiful collaboration. And it can be very healing and very growth inducing and very inspiring for us for our own personal soul growth and development. That's the reason that I do the work that I do.
And you call it soul growth, which is a wonderful word. And it's a phrase that in your field, which is a professional field with training and accreditation, soul work is a nice word. It's
Yeah.
something, it's nothing to do with religion. Or if you
No,
want, it could have something to do with religion if you wanted to, but it doesn't necessarily have to. Talk a little bit about the institute, only I don't think it's really an institute, but the place where you studied and how you studied, if people want to understand that being an animal communicator is an actual trained profession.
it is. Here's my belief. We all have this ability. Some of us have always believed that we were intuitive, even as small children, until kind of the world got a hold of us. I work in an amazing community, has all found each other because we had similar experiences. My training is through the Danielle McKinnon School. My colleagues, Julie and Karen, who I do the Animal Communication podcast with, and
Yes.
the Animal Communication Collective fundraising arm with, we all met through the Danielle McKinnon School. And Danielle trained us in soul level animal communication. And this is based on our training, our belief, Danielle's learning, and what we've learned from the animals, that our animals are in our lives in this body at this time, in our body at this time for a particular reason. And it really is a collaborative effort for our own soul growth and development. And this is not to say that the animals sacrifice themselves for us to get better. It's just that they're already so much better than we are. And they're such selfless teachers. They come together with us and they help us understand our own soul contracts, our own negative belief systems, our own seed thoughts that we've taken with us and created patterns throughout our lives that keep us feeling stuck or held back or unable to move forward in some sort of way. So we work on soul level. That's something that Danielle, I believe, has trademarked, soul level
Oh,
animal
really?
communication. Yes.
Really? Good for her.
Yeah.
Because it's an interesting concept that if you take it seriously and don't just think of it as a party trick or a parlor trick, that you may find yourself really surprised by what emerges.
Yeah.
Because you can maybe, let's say you have a session with Meredith Tollison, which is a pretty cool experience, I'll say. And you learn some things about your bird, your macaw, or your African gray. I wonder if my brother wants to talk about Ernie, his African gray that he inherited from my father. That'd be interesting. Ernie's can be very demanding, but I understand that's part of being an African gray. But in the process of that, you can have an aha moment and realize, oh, so something that I just learned about my bird, it could tell me something about myself just because we're all on the planet together. But in terms of a pet, you are going through the life together. You're sharing a life, right?
Yeah, yeah. And when people do come to me, whether it's bearded dragon, iguana, I've worked with cows and chickens and pigs, and
Really?
yes, it's amazing. We do through the Animal Communication Collective, we have a couple of organizations that we help raise funds for that are farm animal sanctuaries
Oh, nice.
and rescues. So we've worked with roosters and goats and donkeys, and it's
Oh, cool.
amazing. It's absolutely amazing. But here's the cool thing. People come into a session I asked them to give me a question that they want to ask of whichever animal it is they want to connect with. Whatever that question is, I'm telling you, the animals bring it back around. I warn my clients on the front end, this could get personal, this could get emotional because
Wow.
we work a little bit differently than, say, like an evidential medium that works with humans and spirit. My goal is not to tell you whether your goat prefers the red blow up ball or the blue blow up ball in the field. You're going to ask a question like, what is it you need me to know right now? What is it that would
Well,
make
very vague and a good
your
one.
life better?
Wow.
No, pretty specific, but not, do you like the pork or the chicken? Although we
Right.
do sometimes get into those types of things. Inevitably, the animal is going to say something and go, okay, wait, mom, dad, uncle, this is about you. And we're going to figure out how to tie this all together in the time that we have here to talk. So it's the animals do the work to say, here's the lesson that we're sharing together. And they also give us homework and say, here's what you need to do to work on this lesson. And then let's check back in and see how we're doing there.
Wow. So in some ways you act as an untraditional human psychologist or shrink or helper for the human.
Helper. I call it coach,
That's a good word.
or I'm also trained through Danielle School as a soul level intuitive coach. And I use these things collaboratively. I use a lot of my different tools all together. Like when I'm working with lost animals, I've got some training in remote viewing. I work with pendulums. I work with map dowsing. I pull all of these things in.
Sounds really
Intuitive
exotic.
coaching. Yeah. In intuitive coaching, a lot of times the animals will come in as guides. I work with spirit guides in intuitive coaching, but then the animals will come in. I have a helper animal. I have multiple helper animals, actually, some that have been in body in my life and some that I don't know yet.
You don't know where they came from. You're on the path to try and find a lost animal, and a helper animal comes to you in that process of you looking for this information
I have a couple of my previous companion animals in my
of
life.
your own.
My first dog named Vader was an enormous gentle giant, a great big black lab something mix. He was about 125 pounds at his peak.
Wow.
I didn't have any idea what I was doing. I'd never had a dog. I was raised by cats. I was raised by Siamese cats, which is a whole different experience. His birthday was in November and he would have been 23 and he died at around 12. So he's been working with me since I started this training. And sometimes I'll just be like, oh, I'm struggling with this question that this client is asking me. Vader, could you step in and help me with this? And it's like he comes in like the little angel and devil on my shoulder.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's a god from spirit.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So, for anybody who wants to have this experience, especially when you have exotic pets that other people, you don't have a big community necessarily of other people with similar pets where you can all sit around and kibitz about how your animal behaves or what might be wrong with them or what should you do differently with them or for them. It's a really amazing experience. I honestly, when I asked you to be on the show, I had no idea you already had experience with a vast array of animals. So you're really a gift to the non-traditional pet owner because there's so many questions, even about people's fish. There are people who have fish that respond to them, that come to the terrarium, to the aquarium wall and welcome them home. They did with Dr. Doug. I'm sure you could talk to a fish if it came down to it, if the person wanted you to. Meredith Tollison,
Absolutely.
you're just amazing. The community that the water that you swim in, so to speak, of animal intuitives and communicators is really special. It's a gift to all of us, and I'm hoping to spread the word so more people can enjoy the fruits of your wisdom. So thank you for what you do. Thanks for looking for the lost pets when nobody else wants to. Thanks for doing the hard stuff. Really appreciate you, and I look forward to having you back.
Thank you so much, Tracy. It's been a joy meeting you and sticking with you, and I look forward to future conversations.
And so do I. Take care.